What is crackin', female sheep and root vegetables? Brad here, and today we're going to talk about my new design for a kelp farm. Right here beside me you see the basic design you've probably seen everywhere. It's just a observer, a piston. The observer, whenever the kelp grows up 3 tall, the piston knocks it down, and yeah, that works. It's simple if you're into that kind of thing, but for me this is just too expensive, having these 3 blocks just for one little kelp. Yeah, that's not good enough. So I put my brain to it and I decided, what if we had this little arm that would mow down all of these kelp. This is 72 kelp run by one contraption. It's just got 4 pistons. The reason why this works is this little glazed terracotta here. You'll see as it goes around this corner, when the slime goes down, the terracotta doesn't. That's because slime doesn't stick to terracotta. I guess it's because it's so slippery. And this is pretty simple to make. You just got like a little hopper clock making this signal, and then you just put a little delay on these 2 corners. And yeah, I was all ready to make a tutorial on how to build that, but then I was thinking, well, what if we took all this redstone and moved it outside of this aquarium, if you will? Then we could have another sweeper arm coming out this side and get double the amount of plants for the same contraption. So I went around and I made this guy. It took a little while to figure out how to do it, but I got it working. And now we have 144 kelp running from 1 piston feed tape. I don't know if this is a new idea. I couldn't find anyone on YouTube talking about it, and I certainly didn't copy anyone, so this is my own invention. And the great thing about this farm is that it's stackable, so you can stack it on top of each other. I've got 6 iterations of it right there, and it works great. I AFK'd for an hour and I got 900 kelp from this farm, which, if you crunch the numbers, that's enough to keep 2.5 furnaces running non-stop. So for every 2 of these piston feed tapes, you could keep 5 running. And let's look at how big it is. The footprint is 12 by 17, but that's counting these walls here, so you could fit it all in one chunk. And then you'll need, in the Y direction, you need 2 for just this base redstone. And every layer that you stack on top of it will be 6 tall. Oops, come on. Let's look at what you need to build it. You'll need just a whole bunch of blocks of whatever you want, doesn't matter. I didn't bother to count them because who would? You need 42 soul sand just for this outer edge. It's not required, but it makes it a lot easier if you're in survival to know that you've got all your water sources in, and it pushes the kelp up faster. You'll need 74. This doesn't have to be glazed terracotta. You only need 2 for every feed tape, but you could do furnaces, just anything that slime doesn't stick to, whatever is cheaper for you. And you'll need 12 slime blocks, 6 for each arm, 4 pistons to get the feed tape running, and then these furnaces I don't know if they're necessary, but it's good practice to have furnaces in your feed tape so it doesn't break itself. For the redstone, you'll need 4 dust, 2 hoppers for the clock, 2 repeaters, 8 torches, 4 observers, and you need 3 repeaters. 3 repeaters, 8 torches, 4 observers, and 2 redstone comparators. And then once you got it all built out, you'll need 2 buckets to make an infinite water source, and then you'll need, how many is that? 144 kelp just to plant it. And this is for the very first layer. And then each additional layer you'll need, I forget how many that is. You only need 2 terracotta, and the rest of this has to be something that doesn't stick to slime. 4 more pistons, 4 more furnaces, which you could practice to have them. 12 more slime blocks, a whole bunch of blocks for the walls and stuff. 8 more torches, 1 more repeater, and 4 more observers. And then the same amount of kelp for each layer. And then just to cap it off at the top, you'll need a bunch of signs. These make sure that when you're If you leave it not running, the kelp will grow up into your water streams and screw it all up, so you need signs to stop that from happening. A couple more blocks, doesn't matter what they are, and then some way to collect your kelp, just a hopper and chest and maybe ice to make things move faster is a good way to go. So yeah, let's get into how to build it. I've got this set up here. This will be where our hopper clock is. This red line will be where all of our redstone and feed tapes is going to be. Green is where all our kelp is going to be planted. This brown is where our soul sand will go, and the white is the bounding walls, if you will. So let's get right in there. Oh, I need a hopper to start. Grab you. And if you don't know how a hopper clock works, basically we just have two hoppers pointing into each other. We'll put an item and it just pushes it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we'll pull a signal out of this hopper when it has an item in it with these comparators. And next we need repeaters. One there, one there. And then, wait, where's my Snubluck? Get over here. On this side, this is where the piston will be going up, right? No, this side will be the piston going down. So we'll have 2 blocks up, redstone on top of it, and then block up from there. Come on. And a torch coming out of that block. And then on this side, we don't go, these 2 blocks won't be up, it'll just be on the ground here. 2 redstone, and then a block up, like that. Torch on the outside, and that's the base for it. Now we're going to do torch towers coming out of these 2 torches. I'll be building 2 layers of this in this tutorial. You can build as many as you want. And we'll need 6 torches on each side for 2 layers. So 3 for every layer. That's 2. Did I mention how many you could fit 41 of these from bedrock to build limit? And that's enough to keep 100 furnaces going continuously. So you could get a lot of fuel out of this farm. I lost count. That's 5. And then 1 more for this side. And then we'll do the same thing coming out of this torch. Alright, for this side, this is where the piston will be pushing up. We're going to have 2 observers coming out of the first torch. That's not an observer. You are an observer. Like that. Looking at this one, looking at that one's bum. And then we'll skip a torch and we'll have 1 observer there. And we'll do the same for this second layer. 2 observers, skip torch, 1. And then on this side, if I can remember, yeah, first torch will have 1 observer, like that, and then skip a torch, and we'll block with a repeater coming out of the torch, and a block in front of him. So you can either set these repeaters to 2, or you can leave them at 1 and turn this one to 2. I like to have these ones at 2. That's your preference, it doesn't really matter. And then we'll just do the same for this side, or this layer. First torch has an observer, third torch has a repeater. So, and then a block coming out of there, nope, coming out of there. And then set that to 2. Next we're gonna set up our feed tapes. So I said this side is going up, so we're going to have it up like that. This one will be coming this way. This one will be going this way, and then this repeater here will be going down like that. Alright, so it's going to be going counterclockwise from this side. So let's do the same for this second layer. 1 there. No. 1 there. This block is going down, And yeah, every second layer, this will be extended when it's off. It doesn't really matter. Just don't worry about it. And that one will be going like that. Next, we want to put in our furnaces just to keep everything from breaking itself. So whenever the V-tip ends, you have a furnace at the end. So this guy is pushing there, furnace there, this guy's pushing up, furnace there, this guy's going that way, so furnace there, this one's going down, so furnace there. And then we'll do the same for you. Alright, and that's all the redstone. Now we're going to fill in our V-tapes with the blocks that are going to be going around. This slime block will be where our sweeper arm's coming out. And you don't have to have it completely symmetrical. If you're OCD like me, then you do have to have it symmetrical. But as long as the sweeper arm isn't in the same row at the same time, it'll work. So I'm going to put that there, that there, and then you want terracotta. This is the only terracotta that's necessary. The rest of it can be anything that doesn't stick to slime. And you're going to want it to be behind, so it's going counterclockwise, so you want it to be behind the slime block. So we'll put that there, and that there, and that there. And then you can fill the rest of it in with any old block, doesn't matter. Just like that, and then we're going to leave these other two corners empty. That's V-tape 101 for you. Like that. Alright, that's the first one done. And that is that. And now we're going to build the floors which the kelp will be planted on. Your first floor does not have to be it just can be anything you want, because kelp can be planted on anything. And it'll be 7 by 6 on each side. Like that. And then every other floor, or like besides this first floor, every floor will have to be something that slime doesn't stick to, because as you can see, it will have slime sliding across the bottom of it. So I'm going to use terracotta. You can use whatever you want, whichever is cheaper. And there will be a 2-block gap in between it. And oops. And then this floor will be 5 by 6. This floor will be 7 by 6, 5 by 6. So it repeats like that. I will go ahead and get these floors in. No, wait. Let's build the sweeper arms before we get ahead of ourselves. You want 5 more blocks sticking out, and then the last block doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what it is. And then let's put this one in here. Is that 5? Yes. Okay, 5 blocks and then 1 on the end. And then we'll go to the other side and do these other arms. And make sure that you don't make it 1 block too long, or else it won't work. I did that before and it took me a while to figure it out. And then we'll go here, put this one like so. I'm the worst at counting. Alright, let's see this in action before we go any further, just so you can see that it works. Let's have our kelp farm powered by kelp. And there you see it, it's working mighty fine. Alright, I will go ahead and finish putting in all these floors, and I will see you after then. Alright guys, the floors are in, and just to reiterate, this is 5 by 6, 7 by 6, 5 by 6, 7 by 6, and same on the other side. Next step is to put in the soul sand, which is not necessary, but very, very helpful, because if you've ever tried to fill something with source blocks in survival, it is such a pain. And having the soul sand here, it'll have like a visual aid. It'll have bubbles in every source block, so if you don't see bubbles, you know you missed a spot. So I'll just fill in the rest of this. Oop, don't trap me in there. Okay, and then the next step is to make the walls of the aquarium. I built it with stone, but you could build it with glass, or if you were digging a hole in the ground kind of method, then you would already have these walls done. So, but before we go in, to do that, it's best to fill these gaps here. If slime is going to be touching it, it needs to be either a furnace or a terracotta or whatever, and then the rest doesn't really matter what it is. And this isn't necessary, like if there was water flowing into there it wouldn't break anything, but you don't want your kelp to get trapped in there, so that would make your farm less efficient, so you just want to fill it in. Alright, yeah, I've got that all filled in, and now I'm gonna make a little jump cut while I get these walls in, and then we'll get to the kelp planting section. Alright, so we got all the walls in, just nice and contained so the water doesn't spill out and break your torches. Next we are going to need our water bucket and our kelp. And if you're doing this in survival, you are in for a real pain, but basically you just want to put water sources. If you got 2 water buckets, you want one there, and then you take from the middle, put a second one there. So just like every other block, place a water source. Since I'm in survival or in creative, this is a lot easier, but you're going to want to have water sources along 2 walls if it's an open layer, and then a layer like this one where there's a floor, you want it along 3 walls. Alright, you can see here what I was talking about. Like, I must have missed something here. The bubbles aren't going all the way up. So that's the benefit of the soul sand. Hopefully I can get this fixed. Alright guys, that was a real pain, but I got it done. So you can see we got bubbles coming up everywhere. That's a good sign. And then next step is just to chuck your kelp in there. My frame rate is crap when I'm recording, so I'm going to do that off camera for sure. And I will be back when I'm done. Alright, we've got all the kelp planted in there, and we're ready to turn this thing back on. Hopefully it doesn't eat up too many of my frames with all these things moving around. Chuck our kelp back in there. Yeah. This is a little intensive having to record this and all these entities flying around. But that's the basic thing. Next we will put one more layer of water, and then we'll put water streams, and I'll show you. I'm going to do it off camera because this is not very frame friendly. I'll show you how that's done. I'll be right back. Alright guys, so what I've done is I put 2 more layers to the outer walls, and then I've added, how many is that? 84 signs to the top. The signs are just to keep the kelp from growing up into our flowing water and turning it into source blocks, which is a real pain because you have to redo all your flowing water work. Next step, we're going to fill in most of this with blocks, except for one little canal running along 3 of these walls. And these are important because we need the water to be flowing across these blocks, and then it will remain flowing that way once we break them, which is how you get a water stream on top of a big old tank of water. So I'm gonna jump ahead to when this is done, and I'll be right back. Alright, we've got this little platform built. The next step is to fill in this lower layer completely with water sources. And there. And this was where our items will be flowing out, so I got some ice there to make sure they flow nice. If you wanted to just have a little hopper chain coming out here, you don't need this second layer. You could put these blocks 1 layer down and do the next step 1 layer down from what I'm about to do, but since this farm is about being cheap, I prefer to use the trapdoor tube method of getting items around. ostensibly you would want this to go into some kind of hopper, or not hopper, some kind of furnace array, and water streams work well for that. Alright, so I've got this little channel filled in, and next step is to get our streams flowing. We're going to fill in this top layer along these short walls completely, and across here. That. Why are you not? That's weird. Whatever. So we've got a source here. We're going to skip 2, and we're going to fill in this wall, and then same on this side. We got a source there, so we're going to skip 2 and fill in from there. And as you see, we've got everything floating into this nice little water stream, and then you can make it go wherever you need to. And then the very last step is to just break all these blocks of this platform. Since we have water sources all along here in that second layer, it will fill back in nicely. So let's skip ahead to when I've got these dug out. So that is basically it. One last thing you might want to do is, if you can see we've got kelp flying everywhere, is to put a roof on it. But before I did that, I just wanted to show you how this all looks when it's done. And I've even got this nice little trapdoor tube shooting out my kelp. Yeah, so last step would just be cover up all these soul sand columns, and you've got yourself a pretty awesome kelp farm. I hope you did enjoy watching this tutorial, and I will see you in the future. And don't forget to leave a like or subscribe if you want to see more of this. Thank you. Bye bye.